This is a demonstration of problem 24-4B, horizontal and vertical analysis. Presented are comparative balance sheets for the Jmar Company, and the instructions tell us to round to 2 decimal places, and in part A, prepare a comparative balance sheet of Jmar showing the percent each item is of the total assets or total liabilities and stockholders' equity, and in B, prepare a comparative balance sheet of Jmar Company showing the dollar change and the percent change for each item, and in C, to explain the value of the information provided in Part A, and in D, the value of the additional information provided in Part B. So at the top of the spreadsheet, I have the common size or vertical analysis that is required in Part A. So to calculate this, I have my spreadsheet taking the amounts for each of the individual assets and dividing those by the total assets, and in the bottom, each of the individual liability and stockholders' equity accounts divided by the total of the liabilities and stockholders' equity. So you could set your spreadsheet up to do the same thing, and you want to do that for both years, 2021 and 2020. So Part C asks, what is the value or the additional information when we do vertical analysis or common size balance sheets? So the component percentage or common size balance sheet just makes it much easier to do an analysis. It actually reduces the total assets and total liabilities and stockholders' equity to a common base. And thus the statement's just simplified into figures that we can more easily grasp. It can also show relationships that might be out of line. For example, management might believe that accounts receivable of 12% is rather low. Perhaps the company is not granting enough credit, or the decrease in the accounts payable from 12% to 6% indicates decreased leverage, which may reflect positively on the company's debt-paying ability and long-term solvency. So these percentages can be compared with those of other firms that are also successful in the industry to see how this firm stands up against those, but also to see where there might be areas where there could be improvements. In the B portion, it asks us to prepare comparative balance sheets of Jmar showing the dollar change and the percent change for each item. So in the bottom, I have prepared comparative balance sheet information, and we're going to be using what is termed horizontal analysis. So to do horizontal analysis, you first have to calculate what is the increase or decrease in that account, the dollar amount. So for instance, for cash increased by $15,000 from 2020 to 2021. Then after you have computed the dollar change, then you set up, or I set up my spreadsheet to calculate the percentage change. So what it is doing is it is taking the dollar change and dividing it by the 2020 amount so that you can see what the percent change is for that particular account. And I have done that for each one of the accounts and the total, so total assets, and then for each one of the liabilities and stockholders' equity accounts. And again, we see the 13% increase in total assets and total liabilities and stockholders' equity from 2020 to 2021. So this is called horizontal analysis, and it's also very useful. So the D portion asks, what is the value of that additional information that we have provided in Part B? So Part B, statements such as this, is a good analysis and breakdown of the total change in assets and liabilities and stockholders' equity. So the statement breaks down the 13% increase and makes it easier for analysts to spot any unusual items. And the increase is explained on the asset side by an increase in cash, as we saw, short-term investments, and fixed assets. On the liability side, we can see that there has been an increase in bonds payable and also in our capital stock, and a fairly large increase in retained earnings, 58%. So this statement makes analysis of the year's operations generally easier. And that is the conclusion of the demonstration for problem 24 4B.